Hello, Treasure. I have another story from you from the Worst Witch series by Jill Murphy. This one is The Worst Witch Strikes Again. This is what it says on the back to entice us into the story. I wonder, said Miss Cackle, if there is any hope for you in this academy, Mildred. Sounds serious. Summer term at Miss Cackle's Academy for Witches has just begun, and disaster-prone Mildred Hubble is in deep trouble again, all because there's a new girl, Enid Nightshade, who isn't nearly as placid as she looks. So let's see what happens. Again, I shall read chapter 1. And if you want to know more about the story, you need to borrow the book from the library or ask a friend to borrow it. Summer had arrived at Miss Cackle's Academy for Witches. Not that it made much difference to the grim-looking school, which was perched on a mountain amid swirling mist and pine trees. On the first morning of term, the members of Form 1 sat in class looking a dismal sight in their new summer uniform, which was even more dreary than the winter one. It consisted of a black and white grey checked short-sleeved dress, brightened a little by the sash around the waist, and grey ankle socks with black lace-up shoes, a little bit better than the hobnail boots they wore in the winter. Everyone's knees were startlingly white, after spending the winter swathed in itchy black wool stockings. Despite this picture of gloom, the room buzzed with laughter, voices, and the pupils all sounded very excited to be back, except for Mildred. Worried would be a better word to describe how Mildred felt as she sat there at her desk, listening to Maud's tale of what had happened during the holidays. In fact, she wasn't really listening to Maud at all, because she was busy imagining all the dreadful things that were just bound to happen during the coming term. And why, it hadn't even started yet. There were weeks and weeks to get through after the appalling report she had received from school at the end of last term. She promised everyone at home that she would really try to do so much better this term. Even though Miss Cackle had kindly mentioned the day when she had saved the school from disaster, it hardly made up for all the days when everything she touched fell to pieces or broke, or worse, when she couldn't resist doing something wicked to liven things up a bit. It was the worst report she'd ever taken home. Mildred? Maud broke into her thoughts. You haven't been listening to a word, have you? Yes, I have, said Mildred. Well, what did I say then? Asked Maud. You got a pet bat for your birthday, replied Mildred hopefully. I told you you weren't listening, cried Maud triumphantly. That was about 10 minutes ago. The door crashed open and Miss Hardbroom, their terrifying form mistress, swept in like an icy blast, bringing with her a girl whom no one had ever seen before. As usual, everyone nearly jumped out of their skins. Whoop! Oh! And there was a mad scramble as desk lists slammed shut and people crashed into each other in their hurry to be standing up by their desks in an orderly manner to be polite. Good morning, girls, said Miss Hardbroom crisply. Good morning, Miss Hardbroom, replied the girls. I hope you're all glad to be back with us, said Miss Hardbroom, narrowing her eyes and glaring at the unfortunate pupils. All nice and rested and looking forward to some hard work? Yes, Miss Hardbroom, chorused the girls in their most sincere voices. Good, said Miss Hardbroom, clapping her hands together. in a business-like manner. Now then, this is Enid Nightshade. She extended a bony hand towards the newcomer, who stood with hunched shoulders, looking only at the floor. Enid was rather a tall girl, even taller than Mildred, but much more ungainly, with big hands and big feet. There seemed to be an awful lot of her, though she wasn't exactly fat. Her hair was the colour of milky tea, and it was restrained into a long, thick plait. But you could tell that it would be very wild and wavy once it was unleashed from the black hair ribbon. Enid is newly with us this term, said Miss Hardbroom. Mildred, Enid is to be entrusted to your care. I must point out that this is not my idea, but some strange notion of Miss Cackle's that if you are awarded such a responsibility, it may actually turn you into a responsible member of the community. Personally, I feel it a great loss to send young Enid off down the path of ill fame with you, when we would all like to breathe easily if someone like Ethel were to show her the ropes. Ethel, the form sneak and goody-goody. She smiled demurely at this point, and everyone felt like hitting her. However, continued Miss Harbroom, perhaps I shall be proved wrong. I certainly hope so. Please make sure that Enid knows where everything is, Mildred, and keep her company for the next few days. Thank you. Now, Enid, take the desk next to Mildred and let us begin the lesson. The first school assembly will be tomorrow morning in the Great Hall. Crumbs, thought Mildred, sneaking a look at Enid, who had crammed her huge frame into the neighbouring desk. We won't get much fun out of her. But Mildred could not have been more wrong. Oh no, that's the end of the first chapter. So if you want to know more, you need to get hold of a copy of the book. The worst witch strikes again. There you are. See you soon, treasure.